I was president for the Florida PTA, and before that, legislation chair for the Florida PTA. The governor's office, Governor Charles, they used to call and ask what PTA's position was. My then state representative once called me from the floor of the house that he was in, saying, this is coming up for a vote. What is PTA's position? So they were very attuned for a while on this, but now we have people turn over every 8 years, and they have, most of them don't have their children in public schools. I just, there was an article 2 days ago where it turned out that Chicago public schools, Chicago, mind you, lost 32,000 or so children from their public schools and dropped from third largest to fourth largest, which means Miami-Dade is the third largest right now. And we are still 6 because, then it's Chicago is 4, Las Vegas, Clark County is 5, and we are 6. But we're also losing children for public schools as we lose money, as we lose programs, and as we have to go seeking for enhancements for our children. Legislators and policymakers frequently have little or no knowledge of public education. Very few of them do. And some do, but a lot of them don't. So it's important that they know what public education is. When schools closed for Ian, 2.5 million children were out of school in Florida. So that's the majority of children in the state. The schools were closed. There's just 7 counties that didn't close, I believe. 55 counties or so closed. So we are representing, as public school parents and public school advocates, the majority of children. 90% of children still go to public schools in this nation. So you are the grassroots. You heard the superintendent, you heard the keynote speaker, you are there every day. You're providing the enhancements children need. You're providing the comfort. You're the grassroots. You know what's going on in your school. You're the ones that know it better than anybody else. Your policymakers come from your community, and they're elected to represent your community and your schools. So remember that, and remember that your voices are the best to speak on behalf of children, because you're not paid to do it. You're volunteer, you care, you advocate for all children. Okay. I'm making sure it's the next one because I can't see the ones. Okay, we are. Before you start advocating, get to know the issues. Familiarize yourself with PTA's platform, state and national. Go to both web pages. All of the positions are there on both pages. On the state web page, you can find our state positions, which may mean a little bit more to you because it's state issues that we are dealing with, but the national issues are also very, very important. And sometimes we don't, in Florida, when we pass a resolution, and we passed 3 resolutions at this convention, and it was on agriculture education and school gardens. It was electric school buses and solar schools. Those were the 3 that we passed at the National PTA Convention. They automatically become part of Florida's platform. So if any of those should come up in the legislature, we can advocate for them. You have to look at our positions. We have to advocate for our positions. We also have positions against. So you see if you're supporting a position or opposing a position. The one we oppose most of all is vouchers. Public money going to private schools. That is we have been opposed to vouchers since, I don't know when, it's been there. And every state PTA opposes vouchers. They have it on their platforms. The national has it. We think public funds belong in public schools. And that's what we advocate for. At that webpage, you can find issue briefs on the national webpage. You can find talking points, and you can also sign up for receiving alerts from national and state PTA. if you have some questions and if you don't, want further clarification after reading what's on the webpage, talk to one of us. You can find me at legislation@browardptsa.org. So if you go to our webpage and click on my name, it'll, and there's an email that you can get me at, and you can get me at that email and ask me the question. Okay. Now, let me see. Okay, I am on the right track. See, they gave us a template and that's confusing me. And so we had to put it on this. When you communicate with policymakers, and I encourage you to, you identify yourself and know the facts. Keep it brief, not just the basic facts. How many of you have ever been in communication with a school board member, city commissioner, county commissioner, state legislator? Yeah, you have. So you identify yourself, tell them your name and why you called. And it's important that you tell them briefly what is important. So get to know the facts. Don't, make sure you research it. Keep your message always short and simple. And be yourself. Don't be intimidated. If you get to talk to them, be yourself. And then, most important, thank them. Very often you won't get them. You'll just get the assistant or the aide. That is very, very important too. They are the ones that know the issue because it comes to them. They know everything that's going on, and they're the ones that can get you to the policy. Communicate PTA's message. Social media is a very effective way now. You're all on social media. You cut and paste. Make sure that you don't give your opinion. Straight PTA message. Stay with the positions. If PTA has sent you an alert, cut and paste that alert onto your social media. We are totally non-partisan. We don't take sides in politics. We don't, we work with everybody. We don't identify people as a party or with a political party. We are totally down the middle, neutral. We only speak for children. Do not give your opinion. Stick with the issues, not politics. And that is something that we did because we look at role playing, and sometimes people go in, and if they're not getting their way, they look at the legislator and say, we vote for you, we'll take care of you the next election. You don't want to do that. We are not representing ourselves. We are representing an association, a child advocacy association. We are representing PTA. So we just stick with the issue. And no matter if an interview is difficult, smile, say thank you, and follow up with a thank you note. These days, emails are most useful because there's no other way. Okay, different ways you could be involved. And that's what the league is doing next door. They're talking about all the ways you can get involved. Okay, I got off of that. These are the ways you can be involved. Sign up for PTA Takes Action Network. This is on both web pages. Voter Voice is what Florida PTA uses, and I think that's the same for National PTA. Sign up for it, and you'll get an update regularly. I just got an update alert recently about something. Become familiar, but I don't have, and Westchester doesn't have. I don't have a representative in Congress because he resigned, and he's done as of yesterday. Today, as of today, we don't have a representative until the next election. Become familiar with the PTA legislative priorities, both state and federal. And that's where you get it. PTA.org advocacy. That's the national PTA positions. Then from the, and national PTA, we have two sets of positions. There are position statements and resolutions. Go through both. The position statements are just statements with an action there, and they are normally formulated by the legislative committee of the national PT or another committee and go to the board of directors for adoption. A resolution is submitted by, you can submit a resolution of October 15th is a deadline. Submit a resolution, a state submit resolution, sometimes individual units do, and that goes through the process of convention. It goes to our committee, the resolutions committee, we review it, and if it's a new item and it's a pertinent item, it's a nationwide item, then the research is adequate. It has to have adequate research. We move it on. So that is where the convention votes. Write letters and make phone calls to elected officials. When you get this alert, please do that. It is very important. Just leave a message, even if it's a voicemail. Identify as PTA, and it's important for children. Meet with elected officials and decision makers. Zoom makes it easy. You all get to know the election November 8th, you'll know who your legislator is. Make a call to that legislator's office once they're elected. Say you're the PTA from this school, and we'd like a meeting with you. You can do a Zoom meeting. That's all we've been doing. We've been doing Zoom meetings with our legislators. We, of course, have to do the entire Broward delegation, but before you meet, if you contact me, I can give you some priorities that you want to talk about. But you may also want to talk about priorities for each school. Make legislative visits to their office or do the Zoom. Support local initiatives, which you all did with the referendum groups and committees. The referendum was important and we all supported it. I'm going to go through just a couple of these bills. There were too many that passed. And if you email me, I'll send you the list of bills that passed. Because last year, the people that were on my list got the bills when we did this. The most important ones are the HB 7 and SB 148. HB 7 was the one that passed. That's the one about library books. That's the book banning thing. So that is very important because we have to make sure our children are exposed. PTA's position is children have to have knowledge of everything, past history, everything. Do not ban books. The others are fine. And, there's developmental delays. We supported that. We opposed HB 7. Care of students with epilepsy, we supported that. We did not, there was a little problem with the charter schools one. It depends on what money is going to them. We, either support or oppose. School safety, we supported. We supported the mental health of students. The student assessments is the new one that's coming up now. District school boards is limiting the school boards to 12 years. We oppose that because that they shouldn't limit school boards. That's up to us to limit our school boards. If you don't want them, don't elect them. Parental rights in education, that is the bad bill that we all also oppose. That's the bill that says that you can't, the children, that you can't use the word gay in the classroom. That's the don't say gay bill. That was the bill that discriminated against those children. So we opposed that bill, but unfortunately it passed. And Florida PTA and National PTA opposed that bill because we are here for every kid. Okay. These are your officials in Broward. Get to know them. That school board is going to change in a month. Because of the election, there are 5 appointed members. 4 of those appointed members come off. The governor appointed 5 members. 1 of them is there for 2 years, but the other 4 will come off. So there'll be 4 brand new school board members as of November 8th. So make sure that you know who your school board members are. Everybody's members are going to change. The at-large member is going to change, and I think district The Hollywood area is going to change, and Plantation, the Cooper City Western, that area is going to change, and District 5, the Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale area is going to change. You can watch school board meetings, and they're on live, and that's the live stream. And you can get the meeting times and the agenda and see if it's anything's coming up. There are groups. When we supported masks in schools during the heavy COVID time, there were groups that opposed them, and they showed up in force. They made it a point to go to every school board meeting. Of course, you know, what you can do is write. You can send an email in if there is something coming up, and they'll read it. And also, you have your county commission. Some of their actions or some of their policies can affect our children also. Now, if you want to know who your legislator is, that's the Broward Legislative Delegation. This is all on our webpage, on the Broward County Council of PTA's webpage. You can get every bit of this information. There's all of that is there. So you just go there and click on it. You can watch the legislature in action from on the Florida channel. So that's something you can do also. I'm keeping an eye on time because I also have to do a bit of bylaws. They combine the two classes. So so those are your legislative sites that you go to watch the legislature in action, and the Broward Legislative Delegation. Through those websites, you can know who your legislator is. So these are your resources for now. National PTA, that's the advocacy page. Broward PTA, PTSA, browardptsa.org, and you click on legislative to get legislative information. Florida PTA, and the Broward County Public Schools also has a legislative resource where you can, where you can go and sign up, and they'll send you an alert when it's necessary, because the public schools also advocate for positions. So make sure those positions are in conjunction with ours. Also, we send out weekly, during the session, when the legislature is in session, we do send out a weekly newsletter. Not a newsletter, but an update on what is going on, and also alerts that comes up. So if you want to be part of that, just again, email me and I'll put you on the list. And my email is on the webpage. Okay, why is it important to advocate? I just, always think of this. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And of course, that's Dr. Seuss. So it is important that everybody gets involved and speaks up for children. Now, you can connect with us through Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Those are the three ways that you can connect with Broward County Council of PTA. And you can contact us. My email is right there, legislation@browardptsa.org, and we can answer any of your questions. If you want some of the issues, if you want some positions, particular positions, I can send them to you. So just contact me and I will make sure you get it. Any questions? I'll, take about 5 minutes. When does this end? 12 o'clock? Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts? Yeah. Well, what I want to encourage you all to do is be active in advocacy, because if we don't speak, things won't happen for our children. It is very, very important. Florida PTA is at the legislature throughout the session and at all committee meetings. They testify at the committee meetings. They have a person there all the time when the legislature meets. We try to monitor the school board right here, and we send in a letter, in support, or if you don't like a policy, they usually come to us when they're coming up with the new, attendance or the calendar. They come to us and they present it to us. and they ask for our feedback. So it's important that everybody speaks, because if you don't, it's done without your voice. And there's a lot of things that I think will change at the school board with the new school board members coming in and policies. So you need to be aware of, this is the first wholesale change of the school board. And it's important that you know who you're voting for, read up on, your candidates, and be sure to vote. Voting is one way you express your, franchise, and also you have to vote, because you have to read what the person is doing, what it is about children and public education. That's the point. If there are no questions, I will, how many people are familiar with bylaws? You are, okay. I'm going to go through the bylaws. Again, I won't read the mission again, but I'll go through all of this, what is important in the bylaws, why bylaws are so important. But teaching is a powerful voice for all children. It's a relevant resource for families and communities, a strong advocate for the education and the well-being of every. Okay, we are non-sectarian. We welcome people into membership with representation.
Cornelia, can you change the placement of the phone again? Because we can't hear. It's muffled.
Advocacy, that we welcome everybody. And membership is not to be limited. You can't choose your members. Welcome everybody. That's what the bylaws do. As a PTA, because we want
It got muted again.
you should not endorse products, companies, or companies. It's okay if you have a partner.
Sound is muffled again, Cornelia.
If someone asks you who do you use, you can tell them it works out well with us, it makes sense. But you cannot endorse products, companies, or companies. You should not sell or lend your name. You have to make sure.
Cornelia, the sound is muffled. Can you change the position?
You may accept and acknowledge the Constitution, like we do, like Papa John provided us with sanctions for it. You can sanction for it, you can put them on your webpage as your sponsor, but it's not ideal. Your webpage say thank the following sponsors for supporting us, but not saying they're the best, go to them. Again, this is bylaws important. You cannot
Much
support
better, thank
or
you.
oppose a political candidate as a PTA. What you do as an individual is okay, but then you're an individual. Don't go there wearing your PTA shirt or PTA hat. You go there as an individual if you're supporting someone. You can donate to, as an individual to, your candidate, but not as a PTA. PTA cannot endorse, donate, support, or oppose a candidate. If you're having candidates come to your school to speak, you have to invite all candidates. If you want to do a candidate forum, and a candidate calls you and says, "Can I come speak?" If that candidate has an opponent, you have to invite the opponent, or you'll get in trouble. Because you have to be right there in the middle. Both sides have to present. Your 501c3 status is jeopardized if you fail to comply with this revised code. It's a code, it's IRS code, IRS requirement. We are all PTA 501c3, you cannot do that. We may support or oppose legislation needed to achieve our purposes. That we can do. Like I just went through, we can adopt a resolution, we can adopt a position. and we can support it or we can oppose it. Like one of the things that we look at is, we look for gun safety. We want a ban on assault weapons. We want guns locked up so that children are safe. These kind of things we can do, but we cannot support candidates. Okay, now we get to bylaws. Bylaws are the framework for your PTA. You are required to have bylaws so that you can remain a 501c3 or become one. If a PTO wants to convert to a PTA, they require these bylaws so that they can be a 501c3 under our umbrella. Bylaws contain items, your bylaws, your local unit bylaws. You see the hashtag items from National PTA and Florida PTA that you cannot change or delete. You're all under Florida PTA, and Florida PTA provides a template. So it makes it easy. Some states don't provide a template. You have to write your own bylaws. But Florida PTA provides a template, which if you're not familiar with, you can download from the webpage and use that. So now so what do bylaws provide? They provide the structure of your board. In your bylaws, it says president, vice president, whatever. Your officers are mentioned there. You can also have information on the nominating committee. That's in your bylaws, and you have to follow that. It also says how you conduct your elections and when to conduct your elections. And that is one thing a lot of local units get into trouble with the nominating committees and with the elections. As long as you follow your bylaws and call us at County Council, we can guide you through this and help you set up a nominating committee and how to conduct your election so that there are no objections later or there are no questions as to why someone was elected or it wasn't fair. Those questions disappear when you follow your bylaws. The dates for the fiscal year, when you conduct your audit, when you close your books, when you turn over the books to the next treasurer, all of that is in these bylaws. And if you follow them, you don't get into trouble. The requirements of a quorum for conducting business. Usually we suggest 10. Don't put in 20, 50 big numbers because you may not get them. We recommend 10 for a quorum because that is manageable. If you get more, that's great, but 10 is an acceptable number. Now, you have to review your bylaws constantly. You're required to review it every 3 years anyway. Why should you review your bylaws? How many of you have even read your bylaws? Yeah, you have. Okay. So when you look at it and you want something changed, you may not need 3 vice presidents anymore. You may need only 2. Or you may, want to change that. You may want to change something else. That's why you review your bylaws. Bylaws, when you change your bylaws, you know that it's a big step. So you review it, you guarantee, you make sure that the current practices of the PTA are up to date. That's why you review it. If the bylaws haven't been looked at, if you don't review your bylaws, you get a notice anyway from the state that you're supposed to review your bylaws, or they notify the council. You have to maintain the consistency with state and national bylaws. As state bylaws change and national bylaws change, we have 3 changes or 3 or 4 changes at national, and I don't know if anything changed at state. A couple I think changed. Then the template will also change. So you make sure that you're not doing something that's, opposing the national or state bylaws. And also you have to review your bylaws to remain in good standing with the state and national PTA. The state is what is responsible for your bylaws. Your bylaws go to state. When you adopt your bylaws, you send it to state. And the state reviews it, and once the state approves it, you get it back, and that's your bylaws. I have to move this down a little bit so that I get. Okay. I'm in the next one.
No, go down.
Okay.
Let's break
Here. Review and resubmit every 3 years. You must, even if you have no changes, submit it. And if you could upload it electronically, on the Florida PTA webpage. But you do have to do that, because if you don't, the state is aware that you haven't, they notify you, they notify us. If you're making changes, you only change the items that are not hashtagged, because they're the state and national items, and you cannot change them. As this is Florida, you must use the form provided by the Florida PTA. And you will find that form at floridapta.org/bylaws/ So that's where you find those bylaws. It's a form, it's a template, you can download it, and it is fillable. So you fill it, and then you can upload it electronically to the thing, and also to the Florida PTA. So that is what you do with your bylaws. Now, we will be going through the process of adopting your bylaws shortly, but you must look at it every 3 years. Now, when you're reviewing your bylaws, how do you do that? You appoint a committee and a chair. You have to have a committee, and there has to be a chair of the committee to review or revise. Even if it's just reviewing and you're not making any changes, give it to a committee. The committee then brings it to the board. The committee will go over the changes. They bring it to the board for approval. The board approves it. Once the board approves it, it has to go to the membership. Your membership has to vote on the bylaws. But to go to the membership, you have to provide a 30-day notice. So keep all that in mind when you're appointing your committee. If you're, your next board meeting or your general meeting, before your next general meeting, make sure you have 30 days in which to publish the bylaws that you have adopted as a board, and they have a 30-day notice. You present it to the membership at a general meeting for adoption. You read the changes. These days you can project it on the screen. You can do it either way. Email it to them ahead of time, because you have your membership. Many of you are on Member Hub. Through Member Hub, you can send your bylaws to your membership before the meeting, so that they can read it. At this meeting, it requires a 2/3 vote. It's not a simple majority. It has to have a 2/3 majority when they vote. On any bylaws, your membership has to vote. All that, the form also requires some signatures. I think the principal, maybe the secretary and the president, and your email addresses. So you have to put that in. You have to, yes.
More than 2/3, the 2/3 of the total PTA?
No, 2/3 of those present at the meeting. Good question. 2/3 of those present at the meeting. You submit, upload it, submit one copy to the state, and you can upload it through the internet to the website for approval. When the state returns your copy to you with a stamp, which says approved and the date will be on it. Those are your bylaws. Until it comes back to you, you operate on your own, old bylaws, existing bylaws. When the new bylaws come back to you, that's it. That's your new bylaws. The old ones are not effective anymore. But until you get the stamped, approved copy, you are operating on your own bylaws. When you amend the bylaws, why are you amending it? It's a proposal to change existing bylaws, because you see something in it that's not useful for your current purposes. It's obsolete. It's a practice that you don't do anymore. Then that's one reason to change it. You have listed too many people as officers, and you don't need that many. That's one, very concrete example. You amend your bylaws when only a few changes are necessary. You're not going to rewrite your entire bylaws because you're a local unit. A local unit, at council, we can possibly, even we get a template, I think. But a state can rewrite its entire bylaws. National can revise its entire bylaws. Pretty much that we did last year. We revised a good, and I served on that bylaws committee for national. We revised a good portion of the bylaws. Usually you revise it, you have a template, you only revise a few changes. Your bylaws should be simple. You cannot be specific on your bylaws as to anything. And but you generally, you're a local unit, you have a template, so you should be okay. Those are, just some guidelines about bylaws that you need to do. You may not suspend your bylaws. That's very important because sometimes at meetings, people talk about suspending bylaws, but you may not suspend it. You always retain 3 copies. The president should have one, the secretary should have one, and you should have one in your school office. And since your membership has voted on it, it's important for you to realize that your membership should have access to those bylaws. It's a document that belongs to all of you.
When you say school office, you mean the office in the school or your PTA's
Principal's office. And your PTA's office obviously has to have one because of your meeting and you don't have your bylaws. But these days, you have your electronic devices and you have your bylaws on them, but the principal may not have it. So it's important that the principal has a copy. All board members should have a copy of the bylaws. We have it electronically, and I have it saved on my phone every day. So we have our council bylaws saved. We have it. If you're a little doubtful about what you're changing, you can contact county council, us, or you can contact the state office regarding the change you want to make. And we can advise you as if that's an appropriate change or not, because again, you have a template. So that's important, and the template may not allow you to make the change you want to make. Okay, this is the bylaws submission form that as soon as you complete it and you review and approve the local unit bylaws, please upload your scanned original. This is straight from Florida PTA. Scanned original bylaws with the completed submission form. Please consult the bylaws instruction page. This is all on your PTA website. This is pulled off right off your Florida PTA website. Once your bylaws have been reviewed and approved by the state office, your bylaws with the approval date will be returned to the president's email address provided, as well as to the county council. The council president will also get your approved bylaws. You must retain the copy of these bylaws along with the date of approval in your records, in your PTSA's records. That is very, very important. Now we change the standing rules. That is also part of the PTA operating. So what are the standing rules? Standing or you wait, say policy, governance policy, you can call it a policy book or policy rules. Standing operating procedures to help govern a unit council or state. This is the document or set of documents where you get specific. This is the document that you pass on to the next board so that they know what the previous board has done. It has specific dates, instructions. It is adopted, amended by the board to supplement the bylaws. And this is what you have if you have PTA does a book fair, or PTA does the holiday shop, or PTA has a fundraising information. All of that goes in here so that the next person who takes over the next board has those specific things. What do you do usually? Is it PTAs have tradition to do this event? Whatever events do you do, list it in there so that it becomes a tradition for your PTA. It provides the direction to the board, not only your board currently, but to the next board. So that's why you end up being more specific there. Give me an example of what you do in your PTA, an event. Someone. What events do you do? Family night. Put that down. That you do a family night. For example, in our council bylaws, we've started doing a Thanksgiving event. That's in our, not in our bylaws, that's in our policy. The standing rules, that's our policies and procedures. You can call it policies and procedures, you can call it standing rules. And that's in there, because if all of us leave and the next board comes in, they will know where what we did and how we did it.
And also our meetings. We have board meetings every month, the same day, same time, every month. That's also in our policy.
Right. So that you should put it in there, so that when do you conduct your meetings? If you get a whole new board, if you all say an elementary school has all fifth grade parents and they all on the board and they leave and you get a new board of kindergarten, first grade, second grade parents, they need to know when you met, if they have not been a part of your PTA. If they have been a part of your PTA, they would know. But even then, don't take that chance. And it's more specific than bylaws. It gives you that, and you can list it right there, what you did, the date you did it, and along with your treasurer's report, that'll show in conjunction if you did an event, the family night, how much you spent and what you did. Okay. These standing rules, policies, procedures should be organized in any order that is comfortable and useful for your local PTA. It should also be reviewed periodically to ensure consistency with current practice. It may be there, but you haven't done it. So why should it be there? Take it away. Review it so that it's current. It's for current practice that you review it. It also provides for an orderly transfer of duties from one administration to the other. That's what I just said. From one board to the other, they know what has been done. If they don't want to do it, it's okay. It's not set in stone. But if they want to carry that family night on, or fifth grade picnic or whatever, they need to know that has been done. It should be related to the details of administering an organization. You can put in there, you can have an addendum to it, index, or who you use to provide something. That's also useful, because if they don't know who was previously the caterer or whatever, you can put an addendum or an index and do those things. They generally outline the processes for implementing the policies and procedures found in the bylaws. You're just expanding on the bylaws. You're sort of, going to the nitty gritty so that if they open the book, they know what they're doing or what was done before. This arrow could, I got it. One thing I have to tell you, as we wrap up, with standing rules, why is it, why is it desirable? Standing rules do not need to go to the membership. Standing rules, you adopt, you change. So it's easier for you to change it. It's flexible. So you can do it yourself as a board. That's a very important part of standing rules. You do not need to have that 2/3. You don't have to have 30-day notice. You sit as a board and you look at, you can even form a committee that reviews the standing rules if you want, if you don't want to do it as a whole board. But if you're a board of 10 or whatever in a local unit, you can easily sit down one day, look at those and, and see what you want changed. Cornelia.
So how would one go about adopting standing rules if the PTA has?
You form a committee to write some standing rules. Again, talk to us. We can, give you an outline for standing rules, but you call it standing rules and you start, working on it. But you start adopting or creating your own standing rules. You should, because it makes your administration much easier. It's much easier because the bylaws are not specific. They're just, an outline, a guideline, and they're required. There is a required document by the IRS, by the state of Florida, by the, government. So that's something for being a 501c3. Standing rules, you start writing, what you do, your daily operating. For example, you can take the treasurer. You put in there that it has to have more than one signature, that treasurer shouldn't have, sit there counting cash in the open, take it to the bank immediately. Those kind of things you can put in your standing rules. And as far as, tradition goes, that the PTA has always done these events for the students at the school. If you're having an art project, if you do, what did you provide volunteers for? Did you provide volunteers for a science project? Did you so all of those, what do you need? Your chairs, you can list what kind of committees you have. You can list on there. You need all these committees. You can list your committees and the membership there. So that is very specific. That's the difference between standing rules. I think a lot of PTAs don't have them anymore, but it's very useful to have them. Any questions? We have about 5 minutes left on either topic. Okay. Yeah.
The last slide,
Mhm.
the QR code for them to complete this.
Yeah. No, I don't have that slide. Or it's in their form. It's not.
It's on the
On your email that came to you, that's a QR code.
yes, so you do the survey for your feedback. And we have little tokens for everybody that completes their survey at the event today. And after this, we go back to is that the cafeteria?
The general. No, the cafeteria, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, where they're serving lunch. Lunch is next.
Yeah.
So we're
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you could just take a quick minute and go click in the chat box on the survey link and give us some feedback. I appreciate your patience. I think this was the first hybrid class that we have done. And of course, there's always some technical hiccups, but thank you for your patience and really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. The sessions in the afternoon will be very similar to this. There will be a new links coming out. I will email those as well as the links on the website will be working. I just need to go and change those so that the rooms have the new classes ready. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you later. One last thing, I will be sending out the feedback survey link to everybody who joined remotely so that you have that in case you missed that right now. I will send it out to the people that were on the call. So thank you again. Bye.